Welcome back to Guns Explained. I'm Jordan Mitchell, your host, here today with our guest panel for the month of January. This is Keith Jenkins, Sergeant with West Jordan Police Department, and we've got Rich Montanez. He's Program Coordinator with Salt Lake Community College Post Academy. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what makes a good police officer safe on duty. We're going to talk about the physical, mental, wellness aspects as well as home life and how officers can maintain the right kind of attitude and mindset to make sure that they stay safe in all aspects on the job. So, Rich, to start off with, let's talk a little bit about the physical rigors of being a law enforcement officer. You're a healthy guy. What do you do to try and personally stay well and to teach those around you the necessities of being healthy?
I think health is huge in law enforcement, and a lot of us neglect that. And we teach that in the academy. That's one thing we teach right out of the gate is we have physical fitness 3 days a week. We also have a health class we teach cadets, and we go over in that health class taking care of your body, eating right, make sure you get the right amount of sleep, try to control your stress through maintaining your weight and again eating healthy. We go over that and we try to ingrain it in their mind that once you start working out here at Post, you never stop. You work out through your whole career. Doesn't matter what you do, we run a lot, we do a lot of mat work, push-ups and sit-ups. Some of our cadets don't really care for running. It's hard on them. It depends on your body structure and style, but we give them alternatives. There's swimming, there's golfing, there's something you need to do to keep active and keep your weight under control. But health is a key issue. I think it's really key. It also maintains and controls your stress. You also have to remember that your family could be under stress too by the job that you're in. Your wife could be stressed out because of maybe the long hours and the weekends you work. So we got to be mindful of that. Take care of your family first, then your job comes next, and your health is very important. Eat right, maintain your sleep, maintain your levels, your sugar levels, maintain high blood pressure you're having, and make sure those are all under control.
Keith, would you say your job is unpredictable day to day?
Absolutely.
So what do you do to maintain that balance between home, work, and everything else?
Mostly it comes down to your mental focus and kind of where you're prepared and that mindset that you have. I'm not saying it's easy all the time. I mean, I may do it, pull a 16-hour day, go home for a couple hours and get called back out. So trying to find that balance between being home with your family, being engaged with them. I don't want to, title of officer, sergeant, detective, chief, whatever it may be, or short term. Those of father and husband will be hopefully long term, hopefully not with an ex or estranged in front of it is the goal that they'll be after. But really that's where it starts from there, making sure that I take care of stuff at home so I can focus when I'm on the job. And then when I'm at the job, remember what it is I do and who I serve. We're protectors and guardians, amongst the many other titles that you could assign. But when it comes to that preparedness and unpredictability, being prepared and having the mindset that I'm ready for whatever is thrown at me this day, not knowing what it is, and there's been stuff on this job where I couldn't have imagined it beforehand if I hadn't seen it. Yeah. And so, but just kind of overall, the physical fitness part being an important part of that. If I'm not physically strong or physically fit, it's not just about being the strongest guy or the fastest guy for the sake of it, but there is a mental health component to it, and there is a being prepared for, I don't know what's coming at me that day, and I need to be strong enough to handle it. I need to be smart enough to handle it. I need to be flexible enough to it. I need to be empathetic enough to handle whatever may come at me.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just being present in all aspects. I know that we really value that from you and your department. How do you maintain your stress levels with all of that going on? How do you stay present and aware in everything?
So I think for everyone it's going to be a little bit different. I think there's enough scientific research to show obviously physical fitness in whatever form. I know some officers find meditation and yoga a way to kind of help process and look through. Some people keep journals. Some people, like I said, the physical exercise. I enjoy running because it burns a lot of energy, and it gives me time to kind of think through stuff. So that when I'm there, I kind of deal with whatever's here. We have to compartmentalize a little bit and work through, but eventually that stuff builds up, and you're going to have to deal with it to move through. And so I think just being mindful and aware and it's a holistic approach of the physical part, the spiritual part, and that doesn't necessarily mean religion, but kind of the spiritual part inside, your emotional side, your mental health, and being cognizant of all those things.
Being a well-rounded person is obviously going to play a very key role. So, Rich, well-rounded people, that's a pretty broad statement to make. We all seek to be good, well-rounded people. How do you prepare these, I don't know how many thousands of cadets you've trained over the years. How do you prepare them? How do you make them well-rounded people? They're young, they're inexperienced. What's the key?
I think the key to it is maturity. We talk a lot about it, maturing, making the right decisions, taking responsibility for what you do helps you grow, and maturity over time. You'll make better decisions, help you make better decisions. That's what it's all about, decision making.
And you build a lot of great characters in your academy. We know that, and we're all really grateful for it. So when it comes to being a law enforcement officer, being safe on duty, what are some of the most important fundamental things that every officer needs to know?
I think one of the big things to start with is that understanding that all people have value and that everyone matters. We often deal with people. We try to make sure that our officers are engaging people when they're having good moments too. And some of the things that make me happiest are, getting out with some kids playing on the street or going to a school assembly. But we also deal with people in some of their worst moments, whether kind of caused by their own actions or the actions of others. And I think having that empathy for others or seeing them as people still, regardless of the decisions they make or their choices, that somewhere they have value, that they're someone's son or daughter or father, mother, and whatever's led them to that point. Obviously, we've got to hold people accountable for their actions. And at the same time, though, there's still an opportunity for people to do good things. And it's very few people are truly evil out there. I can't say there aren't times you encounter, but most people are good people trying to do the best they can on any given day with the tools and resources they have. And so I think even from a safety aspect of treating people with respect and allowing them to kind of tell their story or have their moment and being empathetic, even in those times when we have to make an arrest or have to use force or in those situations, I think it's important to remember that all people have value.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more.
So one thing I also noticed when I was working patrol is you have to have the right mindset. There's a different mindset when you're home with your family and going to work. Two different mindsets. You have to switch gears. When you get ready to go to work, you have to get in a mindset of safety. You got to be safe. You got to be prepared for what's out there and going to work. And a lot of times I'd play the what if game. What if I made a traffic stop and this happened? What am I going to do? So I want to be prepared for that before I make the stop. Or if I go to a domestic violence and what if this happens? What am I going to do? I've always got to have that out route or that safety route of what am I going to do so I can be prepared for it. So it is a different mindset going to work compared to being off duty. Two different mindsets.
With all the kids that you've trained, I would imagine that with each class that comes through, you find new personalities, new approaches to the same things that you've done for years. Would you say that's correct?
That is definitely correct. If you have 30 students, you have 30 different ways of thinking. And it's not that it's wrong, it's just that everybody does things differently.
How about you, Keith, for each new day and each new thing that goes on in your particular job field, would you say that every day presents its own new unique challenge?
Yeah, definitely. And that's the value of having a well-rounded team, 30 different people thinking. Of course we need some fundamental thoughts and some kind of structure to it. But we do value, different people's approach and perspective because we are going to encounter so many different, unique challenges or even the same challenges in a different way with different people. And so it definitely keeps you on your toes, and it's good to have different perspectives. Law enforcement, the value of law enforcement, one of the things that I enjoy about the job is that it does change all the time. It's constantly evolving and changing as our community changes, as our world changes, whether it be technological, sociological, whatever the issue is, our world's constantly changing and we have to keep up with that. So it's an opportunity for me to learn and grow and meet new people, new things, new ideas, and hopefully it's a better place each day as we go through.
Well, thank you for your service, gentlemen, and creating our next generation of adaptable and and careful law enforcement officers. For Guns Explained this week, I'm Jordan Mitchell. We'll see you next week.